Hello everyone, welcome to Minimax Solutions. So we are at the last question of the exercise 1, sixth question. Okay, here the figure is not given. You have to draw the figure according as the points which is given in the question. Okay, it is given that angle XYZ is equal to 64 degrees. XY is produced to point P. Draw the figure from the given information. If a ray YQ bisects angle ZYP and find angle XYQ and reflex angle QYP. So how to draw the figure from the given information? Angle XYZ is equal to 60 degree. So we can just draw an acute angle because it is 64 degree. We can just draw an acute angle. Okay, I'm just drawing an acute angle here. 64 degrees. Okay, and we have to name it as X, Y. This point is Y, and this point is Z. X, Y, Z. Angle XYZ is equal to 64 degrees. Angle XYZ is 64 degrees. Okay, and XY is produced to point P. You can see XY here, right? The line, the ray XY is this one. Okay, so ray XY is produced to point P. So I'm just producing this ray to point P. Okay, producing means I'm just extending this ray. So I'm extending this ray to point P. Okay, this is point P. Extending this ray to point P. Okay, so we get a XYP is as a straight line when I produce. Okay, so this is the figure. XYZ is an acute angle 64 which measures 64, and I just produced XY to the point P in order to get the straight line XYP. Okay, now if a ray YQ bisects ZYP, can you see the angle ZYP here? This is the angle ZYP. This is angle ZYP. And this is bisected. Bisected means we already discussed that term bisection. Means divided it into two equal halves. So it is like this. We can just draw YQ. This is YQ. So this is the figure. So that these two angles are equal. This angle and this angles are equal because it is bisected. Okay, YQ bisects ZYP. Okay, so we can just mark this as, if this angle as x, small x, this angle will also be small x. Okay, now what we need to find here, find XYQ. Yes, XYQ. XYQ. XYQ, you can see here, XYQ. It has two angles in it. Which are the two angles in XYQ? Which are the two angles in XYQ? XYQ has two angles in it. One is this angle X, which I marked. Okay, ZYQ is one angle and another one is 64. So two angles are there in angle XYQ. Okay, let's find out that angle XYQ. What is the measure of angle XYQ? So XYQ, what we observed, angle XYQ has two angles in it. I'm just writing the names first. Okay, in XYQ, which are the angles are there? Angle XYZ plus angle ZYQ. So these are the angles in angle XYQ. Okay, again replace the with the given values. Okay, XYQ, which is equal to angle XYZ, I can mark it as 60. XYZ, I can mark it as 64. Plus ZYQ, for convenience, I just wrote it as, marked it as X, angle X. Okay, so let it be equation number 1. If you find the value of X, we can just substitute in this equation number 1 in order to get that XYQ. So our next aim is to find this angle, the measure of the angle x. How to find the measure of the angle x? Which property will you apply there in order to find the angle x? Which property will you apply there? See, we have seen that XYP is a straight line. XYP is a straight line, and three angles are marked on that straight line, which are 64. Now X and one more X is there. Okay, so 2X plus 64. 2X plus 64. How much is the total angle we are getting? We get 180. What is the reason? Because that makes a straight line. That three angles form a straight line, so we can mark them as 180. The total of that three angle will be 180. Clear? It is on the straight line XYP. These three angles on the straight line XYP. So just write the equation. First angle I can write as x. So x plus 64, which is equal to 180. You understood the reason? Because they form the straight line XYP. Now, x plus x. How can you add these two, x and x? Algebra. How will you add these two, x plus x? It is 2x. 2x plus 64, which is equal to 180. Clear? 2x plus 64 is equal to 180. Now what? We can write, we can find 2x from this. 2x is equal to 180 minus 64. What is 180? I'm just writing here 180 minus 64. How much is that? 118 minus 64 is 116. So 2x we got as 116. What is x? X is equal to 116 divided by 2, which is 58. So the measure of x we got here, which is 58. Now we can just substitute the value of x in this equation number 1 in order to get the value of the angle xyq. So xyq equation 1 becomes angle XYQ, which is equal to what? 64 plus 58. What is that? Angle is 122 degrees. Okay, so angle XYQ is equal to 122. Now, so the first question is done. What is the next question? Reflex angle. Reflex angle QYP. Okay, you know how to find the reflex of any angle. Reflex angle will be, you have to subtract that angle from 360. So 360 minus angle QYP. QYP. From the figure, what is QYP? Can you see the measure of angle QYP? QYP is equal to this measure of angle x. QYP is equal to measure of angle x. X is 58. X is equal to 58. So 360 minus angle QYP, the measure of angle QYP is x, which is 58. So subtract that 58. So you will get angle 302. 302 is the answer for angle QYP. Hope you understood this question. Any doubt? If there is any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, I'll explain it once again. Okay, so we have finished this exercise 1. Now we will move on to the next session of this chapter.